Welcome to Tracy Art League's 30th Annual Expressions Show. This year we're having it held at the Grand Theater. It's at 715 Central Avenue in downtown Tracy. Hours are Monday through Thursday, 10 to 6, Friday, 10 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 2. I'll show you several of our art pieces here. This area would be pretty much people. This example is by Michael Souza, and he has drawn quite extensively, more books than I know I will ever read in my lifetime. What color is water? And you would see we have green water, we have blue water, very blue water. We have some green water and some splashy water. So we will take answers on what color water is that comes out of your tap. And then we would say, what color is your swimming pool? So you will maintain that there are many different types of water depending on movement, as there's very little movement on the upper left-hand side, and there's a lot more movement on the lower right-hand side, designated by the crashing of the water against the rocks. Here we have some examples of some oil paintings. We have stone, granite, and an alabaster base. This is ceramics, and another oil, acrylic, sorry. So there's a whole bunch of different medias that you can use to make. You don't just have to paint oil, as we've shown. Even watercolors that's coming up. So that's kind of a good example of the many different ways that you can express your feeling. Now we're entering an area that I know a lot about, and that is glass. These three examples of fused glass show the different varieties that you can use, whereas Susan has used many colors in there, kind of makes it a pop. This is put into a kiln and fired at 2,000 degrees. Your oven probably will go to 500, so it's at least 4 times that. Then it's got to be fired a second time because it's put in a mold, and that gives it its shape. So it looks like a dish. In this example, they've used a special glass, very expensive by the way, and it's been molded at least twice. And they just have a flat surface, a really nice stem. It doesn't look like it takes much, but it's very intricate. It's like dominoes. Now, if you have dominoes and you 5,000 and you misguide one, it's all going to fall down. The same thing can happen here. It's a small shift. So it's very delicate. Now we're looking at an example of 3D. And the 3D is different from 2D because I can walk all the way around it. This piece was made by another media. It's gourds. So the gourds were cut in half and transferred around. So this is 6 gourds altogether. Also included are ceramics and I don't know how much paint and different paintings. The eyeballs are also 2 small gourds. So this was done by Kim Powell, who was a teacher at Tracy Unified School, and she had a lot to do with the foundation, Tracy here. So she's a very involved person and someone that, if you have $2,000 in your allowance, come on down and pick it up. We have the artist who have made this picture, and he can tell you more about it.
Okay, this is a piece of wood that was just going to go into the scrap wood pile. It's very beautiful juniper wood, and the shape of it just suggested a paint splat. So I carved it into a shape, and so I call it the paint splat bowl. Made from another recycled material. There were some orange long slats that were supposed to go in a cyclone fence. And my friend had a bunch of these and said, well, what can we make out of it? And so I came up with this idea to make a soccer ball shape. I cut these slats into little pieces, glued them together, and made this soccer ball shaped piece. And then I made a recycled wooden stand to display it on. And I made one for my garden, which is outside, and I made one for the show. This is made from a recycled piece of wood. And the wood is, I shaped it on a machine called a lathe, and then I dyed it to give it a little more of an impact. And then I had to design a stand so I could display it. And the inspiration for this work was a Japanese-American artist named Ruth Ozawa, who used to live in the Bay Area in the 50s and 60s.
Okay, we have now entered the floral area. As you can see, there's many types of flowers, many types of colors. Some colors will have a really good pop. The one that I especially like is the Birds of Paradise. Now that is photography. So that's just another medium that we use to express ourselves. We have a lot of color in summer bouquet. You'll notice that it not only has a nice frame, it also has glass. Glass normally tells you that this picture needs protection, whereas some of your oils, like this, really don't need protection. You could, I don't recommend it, but you could kind of wash it. Whereas some of the pastels and those types of mediums need protection, so they put glass on them. Okay? We have now entered the animal area of our exhibition, and this particular picture is Delta Fishing. It was bought by the city of Tracy, so you guys kind of own it, and it's done by Mary Young. The city of Tracy has purchased 3 of these different pieces, and they will go in the city hall, I believe. Okay, and over here we have what the judge has decided was the best of show. Now this is in colored pencil. I think it's a very good job. And later on, as we go through all these pictures, you get to decide what you think was the best of show. The judge thought that this one was. As we're right next to the Leo the lion, we have a sheep. Now, the sheep is another media. Now, this media is called scratchboard. And if my info is correct, you start with a plain black piece of paper and you cut it out with a X-Acto knife and you end up with a lamb. I think that's quite incredible. Among other animals, we have a water buffalo. The water buffalo was painted by Vince Walsh, who has always participated in expressions. Teacher, he does a lot of outside air paintings, and it just pops from the watermelon to the crepes to the different colors you have on the houses. And also has another very good example of perspective. As you can tell, this watermelon is this big, and as you walk along the sidewalk gets smaller. But as we know, we don't really get smaller. It's just an idea of perspective, what's happening in this picture. There's different colors of water also. And right next to the bright boat, we have Stitched Through Time. It's an acrylic piece that is representing 3 generations of little girls' dolls. We have a presentation by Wesley Cowden, and it's proof of concept. That's a graphite product, which is just incredible, the detail in this picture. And not like R2-D2, but I'm thinking pretty close. On the moon. This is another example of scratchboard. On the other room, we had the sheep. This is another example of what you can do with a plain black piece of paper and an X-Acto knife. Another City of Tracy purchased by the mayor, and it's called Circles. And it's by Richard Beebe, who is one of our photographers here. Of another City of Tracy purchase, and it is grass is growing under our feet. This is actual grass that was grown, plucked, pounded, and pasted, and it's just another medium. So who would have thought the grass would be a medium? And his name is Don Hall. Don Hall is famous for making himself a famous person. And he has done that in many, many ways, and he kind of outdone himself here, as we have Don Hall's self-portrait. And this is with ceramics, I believe ceramics. And he's also in acrylic, has 30 self-portraits. And if you take the time to look at them, you'll see they work just like a emoji. Ceramics. We have oil, and we have acrylic. Colors on this picture just pop out really, really